Welcome back, folks. Thanks for sticking with us. If you made it through the first three videos of waffle nonsense and information that you might not ever remember or need to remember, then congratulations. Welcome to day 4, where we're drinking Silent Echoes. And this is an IPA with Galaxy and Enigma hops. If you've got a great memory from 2 days ago, you'll remember Galaxy hops. Now we talked about it for about 5 minutes. So we'll spare you that today, and we will not talk too much about it. Instead, crack open your can, pour it into a glass if you've not already. Let's get stuck in.
Hey, yeah, you're a quarter of the way through your dozen beers of Xmas.
I do hope, by the way, that when me and Josh synchronise and do dozen beers of Xmas, that you joining in at home and we've started a bit of a thing. Oh, I called it, Josh. I said that was the right glass. I said a pint would be perfect. Look at the meniscus. Look at it.
Okay, so I've just emptied my can, into my glass.
Oh, you've done so well. Cheers, Josh.
Cheers.
Which side are you on? Can we touch glasses on the screen?
That would be for me.
And then
there you go.
Side?
Just in case.
Oh, cheers, man. So this really follows off the back of our experience with Galaxy in divinations. And this time we're a little bit more ruthless with the hop. And we paired it with another Australian hop variety. Again, we're just showing off. We can finally get hold of these ridiculous varieties of Australian hops that cost us an arm and a leg. But this is such a unique IPA. If you've tried like IPAs of this style before, like the New England style, which I guess this isn't like a full New England IPA. It's got that full body, it's got that depth of flavor, but it's not the haziest beer in the world. But the hops that we've used are so intense that, just to give an example, Luke, who works in the brewery with me, said he reckons this is the first time we've made an IPA and he wishes we'd used slightly less hop. Which I never thought we'd ever get to that point, but yeah, here we are in 2020. And but yeah, this is a real showcase of what the Australian varieties are all about. So for example, just to give you a bit of context, the American hop harvest, what we get in the UK, generally arrives sort of February through to April. And what we're getting there is last year's hop. So the hop, what do you call it? The hops are processed in America in the end of the year before we get them, or at the start of that year. In Australia, the turnaround time is so quick that we get them same year. So we're currently drinking beer in 2020 that's got hops that were in Australia not that damn long ago, maybe 2 or 3 months ago. And to be a small brewery in Knaresborough, getting the freshest, best hops we can get from Australia is something that we're really, really, really fortunate to do. And because of our great suppliers and the wonderful industry that we exist in, that sort of thing is possible. So if you take a good long sniff of this beer, it's kind of like, what do you think, Josh?
I'm going to go for mango and bubblegum.
Yeah, to me, it's like it treads that line of the bad words that people use with hops, of like onion and garlic. It's kind of on that edge. I know it sounds awful, and if I've put you off your beer, I do apologize. But if you see what I mean, it's got that sort of like vegetable sort of like dankness to it. I guess this is what the cool kids would call a dank beer, right?
I'd say for us, most IPAs that we produce would be more in the, I guess you'd call the balanced category, like the way, definitely got the hop character, but also got that real drinkability with it. Whereas for me, we've pushed the level of hop in it so much more. And some people might be less attracted to that because it's such a stronger flavored beer with more of that hop character. But at the same time, there's a lot of people that really want that in their beer and they want to be like punched in the face with the hop character, and you definitely are with this.
That's fair. Definitely a punch in the face. And you give the beer a little bit of a swirl in the glass as well. You'll notice it's quite thick. It doesn't necessarily look it because it's, like I said, it's hazy, but it's not full on hazy. But there's a real body to this beer. I mean, if you take a mouthful of it and you think past the hop characteristics, it's kind of like drinking jam. It's really, really sweet and really quite thick for a beer.
It's got the sweetness and the viscosity of like that you'd think it would be a double IPA, really, but it's only 6%, so it's.
I can't believe it's only 6%.
Dangerous.
But yeah, I guess as a brewer, we sort of pride ourselves on two things, broadly speaking. One of them is that we can make strong beer taste less boozy than it is, and we can make like low ABV beer taste a lot stronger than it is. And those are two things that I've always aimed for with our beers. Anything that's like sub 4% ought to damn well taste like it's 6%. Anything that's 6% might as well get you in trouble and late for work the next day.
So it all meets in the middle, and everything tastes 5.5%.
Exactly. Beer is relative. It's a simulation.
Would you say that? I mean, New England IPA is not. It's called New England IPA obviously because of the style originating there rather than the ingredients. But this being all Australian hopped, is this when you use like fancy words like Antipodean?
Antipodean,
I love,
indeed,
that's a great
yeah.
word.
I quite like Antipodean. I like Southern Hemisphere. Antipodean is probably the winner. But yeah, no, I reluctantly named this on the can. I put on the front, I put IPA Galaxy and Enigma. I didn't give too much away there, but if you look closer in the description, it says New England style IPA. Now, previously we've put New England IPA on the cans because they use American hops, but this does not use American hops in any capacity, I don't think. No, I don't think we used anything else like in the whirlpool or anything like that.
Even the bitter end isn't American, is it?
I think there might be an absence of bitter in hops in this beer. So again, we were chasing that low bitterness, fruity flavor, high like viscosity, but then retaining that drinkability. It should almost drink like a beery smoothie that's like, but yeah. So a New England style IPA, I guess, kind of covers a couple of different categories, doesn't it? Because this is not an American IPA. This is yeah. If when we get into the next couple of beers, guys, you will see if you're not already proficient in this sort of environment, you will see that American IPAs like Citra Mosaic, they're so different. The set of flavors that you get are incredibly different. And look forward to giving you the comparison.
This is almost for me why it's the evolution of the New England IPA. The more current New England IPAs are more likely to have Antipodean hops from Australia and New Zealand than their predecessors. They're more likely to be thicker like this, even though they're not as strong, more likely to have more sweetness. Whereas, well, if I say traditional New England IPAs, that's a bit oxymoronic. But original New England IPAs, of course, had low bitterness and haze, but long gone are the times where you'd still have like a little bit of clarity or a little bit of bitterness or a little bit of only American hops, for example. Like even the breweries in New England themselves are using these hops that we've used in this in their beers to produce this kind of product.
You could be forgiven for thinking there was some brew one in this beer to me, because it's got that same quality as Divinations, where it just reeks of like beautiful pineapple, fresh pineapple. And Australian hops have such a prominent flavor, and I think it's quite a grassy sort of thing as well, rather than like the American hops are like a big punch in the face of fruit. I think Australian hops are more like someone's thrown a delicious fruit salad nested in a hay bale at your face.
Like you get the tinned fruit salad where it's like loads of different fruits in there originally, but they're all melded together into that one flavor, which is definitely tropical, but you can't distinguish what was in it to begin with. I think that's what you get with Enigma and Galaxy. Like it's so tropical that it's beyond the point where you can pick the fruit out anymore.
Yeah, fruit salad is a good comparison. My good friend Stu from North Riding Brewery tried this beer, and he's a big fan of Australian hops. And he uses them to great effect in a lot of his cask forward beers, mainly in his cask beers. And he messaged me and was like, "That is too much Enigma." I was like, "You're not wrong. You're not wrong." But Enigma versus Galaxy is, to me, is the Australian version of Citra versus Mosaic. And if you were to, not too much of a shameless plug, you've already bought our beer, but if you were to go onto our web shop and buy a can of Cosmic Flux and Silent Echoes and drink them side by side, very similar sort of beer stylistically, but they drink completely differently.
Yeah, that would be the best example of like, perfect American, like archetypal American hops versus archetypal Australian hops.
Definitely. Just to touch briefly on the artwork, this was you guys are in a bit of a special club here because you're going to find out things about our branding that other people might not know. But this was initially the design for Exile, the lager that we recently released and will be your penultimate beer, I think. But I think I looked at it and thought it didn't really look delicious as a lager. I was a bit concerned that it looked a bit. I don't know. What do you think, Josh?
I think the word I would use is busy.
Yeah.
I think I'd want the can of a lager to be a little bit more simplistic.
Yeah, definitely. But it's a nice autumnal design. Again, clearly not set on this planet because of the planets in the background. But as ever with Lottie's wonderful designs, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. You can look at it once and think, oh yeah, there's some hops on the campfire, but maybe you can invent a story around it. The trees are orange, so maybe it's autumn on this planet. Yeah, who knows?
You can say it's Uluru, the what is known by the white population of Australia as Ayers Rock. Uluru.
Yeah,
the big rock on the can.
You get the reference on the bottom of the can.
No, creamy tea.
Creamy tea. It's the last series of Friday Night Dinner. Have you watched that? The guy from In-Between.
I've watched the first season of Friday Night Dinner. That's it.
Well, the good news is that the other series of it are almost exactly the same, but like it's almost identical series by series. But the last one, Jim meets somebody who wants nothing more than to have a cream tea, and he calls it creamy tea. She was the two sons' nanny, and she's come back to England to meet them again, and also really wants to try cream tea. And he's like, "Ooh, creamy tea." I thought this was kind of a creamy tea. It's got those sort of green tea flavors. It's got that high impact bitterness, I guess, that's not really bitter, and also it's quite a creamy beer.
It's much nicer than creamy tea.
Much nicer than creamy tea. Yeah. Anything else on this beer, Josh?
It's probably the first time I've had a beer with just these two hops in it from any brewery. So it was nice to learn more about them, their flavor profiles with each other. Yeah, I'd be interested to try more Enigma beers with other hops in a combination, in the same way that we combined American and Australian with divinations that we spoke about 2 beers ago. It would be cool to try Enigma with some different varieties. Thanks everyone for tuning in to the 4th beer of our dozen beers of Xmas. One time we'll do that at the same time and it'll look great. Out of the 12, we just need
Dozen
one.
beers of Xmas.
Xmas. There we go. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the beers that you've had so far, and yeah, stay tuned. We're going to keep doing this for the dozen beers of Xmas that you've purchased from us. And yeah, we're really excited to talk through them with you. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.